Hi everyone, so I wanted to just first share some moments of things we've been doing recently, and it was crazy how much like fluff was on the greenway, and it had come from a tree, and I thought that was cool. This was a beautiful sunny day when I was sitting outside Cafe Nero, and then another day my daughter was at a party, so my other daughter and I went to the Titanic Quarter, and yeah, like there's the cranes in the background. They're kind of like a symbol of Belfast. And it was a really beautiful sunny day, and it felt like we were abroad, and we just took our time and wandered about, and we ended up getting some drinks. I got a coffee and she got like a slushie, and we sat in front of the boats, and I brought my book, and at the time I was reading Women Living Deliciously by Florence Given, and I finished it now. I did enjoy it, but it was quite long. And yeah, then this is the day whenever we got our new garden furniture, and Potato decided to join me on it, and yeah, it was still beautiful and summery then. We had a really long spell of summery weather, so I'm hoping that wasn't our entire summer. It's kind of rainy and then wet and rainy and wet today. And then this was a day whenever I took the girls to Lady Dixon Park, and we went to see the roses, but they weren't really out yet, but they did have some other beautiful flowers. I think these are rhododendrons, I could be wrong. And yeah, like I just enjoyed walking around with them and Potato, and we brought food with us, which we ended up having in the car because it rained. But it was a strange day because it was lashing one minute and then sunny the next, and we kept kind of hiding under trees, and yeah, there was something kind of romantic about that. And this is a little Japanese garden that we found there. I actually don't know the park well, so it was fun to explore it and just see like what we could find. And it was very quiet, I think probably because the weather was so unpredictable. Like it felt like we were the only ones there. I love this orange plant and the contrast of it with the yellow and the pink as well. And we went to Montalto, which is like a place that has a park and you can do different walks. And I noticed while I was standing waiting for the kids while they were in the playground with their friend that there were lambs, so I stopped to get a video of them. And this was another rainy day, but we just kind of worked around it and had a picnic. The kids had it in a little den they found in the playground, and these are the flowers that my dad gave me on Sunday, and every time I look at them it makes me feel happy. Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylin, and today I wanted to talk about 10 more things to do instead of spending money. I am trying to be really careful still this month, and I need to get myself back into like a fully frugal mindset. I have been watching Kate sing a lot, and she really helps me to get back into that way of thinking, and it helps that she's having one of those phases herself, because I just think it's important to have inspiration and things you can watch that get you back on track and that make frugality like inspiring and interesting rather than like a chore. Number one is to take a walking tour, and it kind of depends where you live, but if you live in a city you can look for street art and just create your own tour. There are lots of paid street art tours where you're looking for like where you get a tour guide and you go as a group and learn all the like background and everything. Just for something free and kind of more casual to do, you can just wander around finding street art of your own. And I've noticed like a lot that recently for some reason on like electric boxes around the place, like there's a lot of art. And also it doesn't matter, like if you don't live in a city, for example, there's a little place that we like to stay in. Sometimes it's like a village kind of in the middle of nowhere, but they still have little like plaques around the place with quotes on them, and I think there's lots of different adaptations of this if you just look out for it in your own area. Number two is to change your wardrobe around and play with summer outfits, and to try things together that you normally don't put together, or just to change things up. I find that like if I don't do this, I kind of go into autopilot and pair the same things together all the time just because I know they go. But it can be interesting to physically rearrange it and see how that affects what you choose to wear, because sometimes you just reach for the nearest thing as well. And yeah, my partner bought me 3 new dresses, so this is one of them, and I'm excited about it because it's got sunflowers on it. Excuse my thumb. Number 3 is to go for a walk and buy fresh bread or fruit. And there's something kind of French about this to me because, well, I lived in France for a year and I studied French at uni, so it really interests me and I just love like anything French. But I like the way French people kind of approach life in a slower way and they are more intentional about what they do. For example, because there are lots of shops there that are individual shops for different purposes, like a bakery, a fruit shop, like they'll have like a cake shop, a cheese shop. So you can go to one of those specifically to get like one quality item. And I think that you can recreate that here and go out to buy one specific thing, put more time into it and choose something that really appeals to you and it feels like a real treat, but it doesn't cost much at all. Number 4 is to do a small kind thing for a friend. This could be like anything that you have around your house already. It could be like a thoughtful gesture. It doesn't have to be a physical object, but you could also do something like fill an old little jewelry box with some like little notes and like sweets or just things you have that you're not using. Like it can be just something thoughtful. It could be picking flowers from your garden and giving them to them, or wrapping up some cake that you've made and sharing it with them. And I think that there's just something about doing that that makes you feel better about life. And I don't know, I just think it creates a ripple effect and makes people more inclined to kind of practice kindness in general. Number 5 is to look for free music events. And I find in the summer in Northern Ireland, like it might not be like the music events that I would necessarily like choose to go to first, that I would pay to see, but I like the way that the parks do live music, jazz in the gardens at Mount Stewart, which is a National Trust place, and I just love the fact that you can sit outside, listen to music for free, and it's just a nice atmosphere and something to be part of. Number 7 is one that was inspired by the little clip I showed you of my dad gave me a beautiful little like bunch of flowers from his garden, and some of it was lavender. I actually can't remember what the white ones are, but they're really pretty. And like there was just something about the gesture that was really touching. Like it just is so pretty and it felt and it was thoughtful, and I think it's nice to share with people like that. If you have some lavender or you can find some like growing wild somewhere, and just pick some of it for somebody and wrap it in like wet tissue so it doesn't wilt, and yeah, it's just like a nice little gift to give someone and it makes you feel better too, plus lavender smells amazing. Number 8 is to make jam with some summer fruits, because like we're getting into the time of year when things like strawberries are like everywhere, and later in the summer it'll be like blackberries and things like that. We actually have some fruit growing in our garden, so I'll probably end up making red currant jam or something like I did last year. And I just love picking fruit, and I always did. Like even as a kid I remember doing it and really enjoying it and turning it into jam and things like that that you can preserve for later in the year. It's kind of rewarding later on. Number 9 is to go to something that's outside your comfort zone, and I like to do this sometimes just to kind of like push myself. Like if something makes me feel slightly uncomfortable, I want to try and overcome that and try it, because I think it just makes you believe in yourself more, and it helps you to grow in confidence. And anytime I have done something like that I really haven't naturally felt inclined to do, I've been glad of it after. I actually really wanted to go to a poetry slam on Friday night. My kids are away at a camp and the Belfast Book Festival is on, and I saw that they have a poetry slam in like an arts centre near me, and I actually was thinking about writing a poem for it and going along and just like going for it and seeing what happens. And it makes me feel uncomfortable thinking about doing it, but sometimes I think that's like a reason to do it rather than something to stop you. And but yeah, I decided I couldn't, because I basically have to drop the kids off at the same time it starts at, so I'm just going to look for something else to do instead that evening. But like I think it is nice to do stuff that's outside your comfort zone sometimes. Like for example, I've always like been really afraid of public speaking, and I went along to my daughter's school when she was in P3 and I read to her class for World Book Day or something, and I brought along one of my books that I'd written that was a kid's book and shared it with the class, and I actually really enjoyed it, and it was nice chatting to them and reading to them, and I was glad afterwards that I had done it, because in the past it's the type of thing I would have run away from, but I decided to run towards it instead. And finally, number 10 is to put some blankets outside and do some stargazing at night. And I know that, like, especially in this part of the world, like if you want to do stargazing, you have to do it quite late now because it stays light for so long in the evenings in the summer. But I just think it's a really peaceful thing to do, and it helps you put everything into perspective because you can kind of see your place underneath all the stars, and that your problems and things like that aren't that big compared to the whole universe around us. So I hope that these ideas give you some inspiration for things to do that don't cost a lot of money. And yeah, I will try and make another video soon, and I have to go to my daughter's sports day soon, so yeah, hopefully the rain stays off for that. And yeah, thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more content, and I'll see you soon. Bye.